featuring the Greenfield gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scott, Donnie Moore, and from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville, along with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore and longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons. Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli will join us, and also former Alcoa basketball standout Dwayne Easter is here with us this morning. Vanderbilt comes to Knoxville as the Vols seek revenge, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card. Donnie Moore will fill us in on the latest high school basketball scores and will follow up with the top national sports news. Marcus Fitzsimmons will be on board to update us on what's happening in local sports, and will cover the teams and individuals who are making a mark. Today, Marcus will talk some Alcoa softball and Pellissippi athletics with Brock Evans. And I will jump in and talk some UT basketball and then follow up and break down the SEC standings and today's schedule. We're happy you're with us, so let's break the huddle and dive right in. Good morning to all of you, and post-Valentine's Day, I take it that yesterday went well for all of you. I don't see any black eyes or
nobody's limping.
Any missing bodies in here this morning. Nope.
I tell you what, you talk about pressure on a husband. You got to make sure you do it right. Because if you don't do it right, I mean, it's a tough 51 weeks to follow.
And there, there's no going back like, was yesterday Valentine's Day? I'm sorry, I forgot. I've been so busy.
Do that.
We'll make it up next week. No.
Right. It's over.
Yeah.
It's all over. Well, anyway, good to see all of you back in here again this morning. And I've got a little bit of a letter rip, and I've already filled Donnie Moore in.
Let's rip it.
I'm ripping the Super Bowl.
Here we go.
What did the Super Bowl do to you?
I'm ripping the Super Bowl and the Kansas City Ifs, or the Kansas City Chiefs, or whatever you want to call them at this particular point. But I thought the game was full of hype. The Chiefs with a chance to go in to three-peat with. And they had Mr. Clutch, Patrick Mahomes on the field at quarterback, and Taylor Swift was at the event. President Trump showed up for half the game, I guess, and everyone was pumped for the commercials and halftime show. And what happens? The Chiefs failed to show up. They really never were in the game. They lost 40-22, and really the game was not even close. I mean, the final score wasn't any indication of how the game went, really. And Donnie Moore, if the game had been a firecracker, it'd been a dud, wouldn't it? I mean, that was
it would indeed, Mike. It lit the fuse. Everybody lit the fuse, and then it went.
Yeah.
That is very surprising. I mean, no one expected this. I mean, what was the score, like 32-0 before?
It was 40. Yeah.
Before the Chiefs even scored.
Yeah, after the first 5 minutes, everybody was going back, and I believe I'll go back and get me some more food. And if you got any dessert in there, and you never saw them the rest of the game. I think they came back the fourth quarter. Is the game over yet?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, pretty much. But
I mean, the surprise total. I mean, the fact was that in the first half, Kansas City had a total of 14 total yards offense.
Wow.
14 total yards is from here to where the men are working on the food over there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 14 yards. I mean that was totally very surprising.
And that shameless pitch for Barley's was brought to you by Tony
which is now Bluetick.
There you go. That's right.
Coach Iruli kind of looked like some of the old Super Bowls. You remember some of the old ones back in the day? They just weren't close. There was all the hype, and there was a waiting period before the Super Bowl. Remember, they took several weeks off, and then they went to play the Super Bowl and said, well, we're giving them too much time off, and, we need to shorten the period of time because the games just weren't exciting at all. The playoff games were the exciting part. Then you got Super Bowl, and it didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, for a period, that's what they thought, that they were giving it too much time off, and for a while they moved it to after the AFC NFC Championship. Then you had a week before the Super Bowl. But now there's so much hype and things that goes on before the Super Bowl and all that. I mean, you got to really expand it to 2 weeks before the game.
Yeah.
And it was just real surprising how Kansas City just really was a dud.
Laid an egg.
Yeah. You know, too much Swifties going on during the off week.
Dwayne, I don't know, Kansas City. I was a betting guy. It sort of looked like he was throwing the game or something. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
that's who I picked last week.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of people were pretty sick that put the money on the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, and it seemed like a pretty good bet going in, but not so much.
They couldn't complete any passes. That's what was surprising to me. He was throwing behind them in the ground.
And they couldn't block anybody. They just rushed him unmercifully.
Well, the big thing was that Philadelphia. They didn't blitz. They rushed 4 guys. They played zone underneath, and so there wasn't very much man-to-man coverage that was going on, and their defensive line just dominated the offensive line of Kansas City. Mahomes was under pressure, except for one interception, but the rest of his interceptions they threw, I mean, he was getting knocked around and causing the ball to be thrown off guard, and so it was not a. I mean, it was a clear domination by the Eagles' defense.
I'm just surprised you guys were surprised. I mean, I picked the Eagles, and I didn't expect it to be that bad, but Kansas City skated by the entire season. They had more one-score wins than any Super Bowl team in history. They could just as easily have been a 9-7 team and not even made the playoffs. They won on a lot of fortunate plays, good plays, and they created them. But they didn't dominate anybody this year.
Well, that's right. They did. That's exactly why I picked them. And there's no official in this league that liked any other team except the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, when you got the officials in a close game and you're predicting a close game.
But that stopped after the first 2 series. Yeah. After the first 2 series, the officials did not impact this game at all.
No.
Now the first pass interference call.
Yeah, you were saying those officials are back.
The second one, people were getting a little antsy, but they didn't really impact the game after.
Well, I noticed they were still talking to a lot of the Kansas City players. I understand they were saying, "I can't help you today. I can't do much for you today, boy. You're on your own today, boys."
Just to make sure, because I know this is a very smart, intelligent group of men right here.
Where are they?
Who were the members of this table that picked the Eagles?
That'd be you and me, Tony.
Oh, how about that? How about that? I tell you what, you and I, we same way.
And Tony, you got to feel real good about this because it's the first time Marcus ever picked anybody that won anything on this program.
Exactly. I'm usually the kiss of death to pick.
Yeah. So. Well, I thought you were going to say it's the first time Marcus ever agreed with me.
Yeah.
So
well, that
was even more.
Y'all knew more than what all the rest of us knew for sure. Donnie Moore, there's one other sporting event that happened recently that I thought really compared to the Super Bowl. Can you think of that sporting event? Since you have the national sports headline and so forth.
One other event.
Yeah, one other event.
Recently.
Pretty recently.
Well, you're talking about the national championship game?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the Super Bowl, something that compared to the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, the college national championship.
Yeah, I guess you can put that one down.
I
was thinking more
with the dog show.
Oh, yeah, well, that's pretty good, too. I'm thinking more of the Mike Tyson fight.
Oh, yeah.
Or the beatdown or whatever you call that.
Yeah,
you call that deal.
I'd forgotten about that.
See, I thought he was going to the Puppy Bowl. So
I thought something in that effect. But, Mike, I know that you were just a big fan of the Super Bowl halftime show. And it was just the glow. You and I watched Super Bowl together. The glow coming off of your face.
I would have rather seen Frankie Valli out there just moving his lips than that show.
He's coming to Knoxville, isn't he?
Yeah, I was there last
night.
Last night.
I missed
He's still propped up over there. You can go over and see him this morning.
They had to take a couple of days to let him rest before they moved him.
I liked him back in the day, though.
He's great.
That was 15 minutes of my life I will never get back.
Yeah, and it felt like 30, didn't it?
More like an hour.
Actually, that's the most viewed halftime show in Super Bowl history, wasn't it?
I mean, no.
Of course,
they leave the TVs on. They're not going to
it's not like they turn them off.
Yeah, it's not like, let's keep the TV on.
You rate the Super Bowl halftime show by how many people talk about it later for being good or for being incredibly bad. This one's talked about for being incredibly bad.
Yeah,
it's not Janet Jackson bad, but it is in the top 3 for, wow, they really underdid themselves this time.
But it's funny. It's
It was the Chiefs of Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yeah. But watch the people at my house, my family members. My daughter-in-law and daughter, and they're all into it. They're dancing like that.
They liked it. They liked it.
Mike, me, Carol, everyone else of our generation, we're like saying, "What is he saying?"
I got my phone on listening to the Beach Boys up here while that's all going on.
Yeah.
But listen,
I was checking my heart rate during that time.
My question to all those young people that like that, and power to them, and everybody's got their, your age, depending on what age you are. My parents used to complain about the Beatles and all those people that came in and sang back in the day with the long hair. But my question is, all these young people, when they go out and they work and get older, is that what they're going to listen to on the radio? I mean, is that what's going to motivate them to
Classic
get work
rock
done?
will be a very interesting thing in 20 years.
Yeah,
It
just sounds like angry music. It just
this is my problem.
Yeah.
I've gotten spoiled. I like the show where we have guest appearances and total I liked last year's show where we had an all-star and it wasn't just one person being the feature in the middle, and that was more fun to me. I like those shows where we're changing pace and changing music and doing everything. This one felt like it was the same basic beat for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And you got Serena Williams comes in and dances.
My favorite.
I must have missed that part.
Yeah.
My favorite halftime show of all time, hands down, was Prince, In the Rain.
Yep.
That was a great one.
Yeah.
You got Prince. Michael Jackson was great. I mean,
That's a close second.
Yeah, and then there was a couple that had a couple different different type of artists that was singing that they pop in and say. I mean, those are fun and entertaining. I just
After watching that, my generation watching that halftime show, I would have taken the high school band in the first Super Bowl over what I saw
or Al Hurt.
Or Al Hurt. Al Hurt, yeah. Where's Al?
There's Al,
when you need him.
Right.
Hey, I've got some Tennessee.
I got one, Mike.
Okay.
I got
go
one
ahead.
dumb question to ask. Did anybody think it was curious that we did a flyover? Like they cut away to show the planes flying over. It's a dome.
I know.
It's not like the fans
they showed
inside.
it on the screen.
Yeah.
It's not like the fans looked up and saw the planes. It's a dome.
Yeah. That's always. Yeah, and they do that. All the Super Bowls are in a dome and all that. Flyover.
I still wonder why. I'm like, you could just have them fly. They don't actually have to fly over that building.
Yeah, they should just have like a drone flyover inside the.
Or maybe let everybody go outside and watch the flyover and then come back into their seats. That way.
Well, then that way we can move it to halftime because it's not worth staying inside for it.
I will say this though. I thought the national anthem was absolutely fantastic. And the God Bless America. I can't remember the artist that sung that. That was outstanding too. So there were some good things music-wise, except for the 15 minutes in between the halves.
Yeah.
All right, but everything else I thought was really
and
good.
the food at your house was outstanding.
It was very good. I'm
running around, we're in that commercial where they came running through.
Yeah.
That was my favorite
we
part
had a
of the
good
night.
time. Next year again, we always have a Super Bowl thing, and I'm already inviting the four of you guys. All right, so we make plans.
Yeah. Don't eat between now and then.
And Carol's probably hearing that. So hey, heads up, Carol. We got 51 weeks. Get ready.
Hey, got some notes here on what's going on over at Tennessee. The ball baseball team yesterday opened their season beating Hofstra. Unbelievable that they're playing baseball here in the middle of February. It seems to get early and earlier, every year. But they won yesterday 15-0. No trouble there. They're set to play today at 2. I'd say that's probably up in the air a little bit, and they maybe ended up playing a doubleheader tomorrow. But they're scheduled at, I think, 2 today and 11 tomorrow morning. So we'll see how that weekend comes out. But it looks they're off to a good start. The Lady Vol basketball team they're 18-6 and 5-6 in the SEC race. And they had a good win against Connecticut here.
Oh, yeah, I loved that.
80-76. And then they went down to LSU, and they lost 82-77. Really, the game was closer than those 5 points, right there at the end.
Yeah,
but I got to ask I got to throw this out there. I think Kim Caldwell's just done an outstanding job with that
Here,
program her first year. But down there at LSU the other night, there was like a minute, maybe a little over a minute left in the game, and they were down, and they just let LSU go down, and they just
saw that.
They didn't foul, and I'm going, what are you doing?
That's what I was
You're
thinking.
just letting the game get away, and it was like they were down maybe 4 at the time, and I'm thinking
it was within reach.
It was just like, well, they'll just hold the ball and we'll just get beat 4 instead of. But guys, you still got a chance to win the game. Did you notice that, Dwayne, or was it just me?
I thought maybe she should. I don't know if she had any timeouts left, but that's the kind of time you call a timeout.
Yeah, I thought the management at the last minute of the game was
little
not very
suspect.
good.
Wasn't
Not
it,
a little
Coach?
suspect. I was trying to find the right word.
There you go.
Yeah, I was just, if there was 20 seconds left, and it didn't look. But even at that, you're going to go and you got to give it a chance here. You know, it's not done.
Exactly.
Well, that's the time when your assistant coaches has to step in, and get in the ear of the head coach and say, hey, we do this. What's going on? We need maybe do this or that and all that. But that wasn't the case during that time.
Well, they got back on
Spoken
track.
coming from a true coach right there.
There you go. A lot of times they tell me get away.
But at least they are playing teams close now.
They've done a fabulous job in putting a team together over there and doing as well against outstanding teams in the country. They're gonna be a hard out in the NCAA
They got some good
tournament.
recruits coming in too.
Yeah, they got four 5-star recruits coming in over there.
Yeah, it's now
they're
that
recruiting
Tennessee
well.
women, it's now becoming an attractive place to go to.
Yeah, and they came back and beat Auburn 99-61 there during this week, and they got Ole Miss tomorrow, a good Ole Miss team, and that's on the SEC Network. Tomorrow, Ole Miss comes in at 17-7 and 8-4 in the league. So they're in 6th place, and Tennessee, as well as they've played all year, that women's SEC side is good also. They're in 8th place. They're a lot better team in 8th, I think, in the Southeastern Conference, but that's where they're lined up. And then I got to mention that 2 former Tennessee Vol basketballers were named to the University of Tennessee Athletics Hall of Fame. A.W. Davis played over there a little bit before I did, and then Tony White, Tony White that's on the show. He's not here today, but we'll talk a little bit hopefully next week with Tony about this. And he's over at the Vanderbilt game today. And so anyway, Dwayne, you can elaborate on that a little bit, but is this going to help him maybe to get his jersey retired? I know you've been.
That's what I'm kind of hoping, we actually knew that last week, but they were wanting to make sure they contacted everybody before they released it. But anyway, this is kind of getting it out there again.
Definitely.
Eric Berry's going to be honored too, so there'll be a lot of people at that, and hopefully it'll maybe get people's minds back toward Tony getting his jersey retired, getting his name back out there, because I think, like you, a lot of people have forgot, Tony, so maybe this will help
and
him.
you've done a great job.
Tony's his own, and he's very humble about it. It's like it kind of embarrassing, but when I think somebody deserves something,
Sure. You've been the big supporter of getting that, just going in that direction, all that.
Just trying to at least get the committee to look at it. That's really all I'm asking. And if they look at it, I think they will determine there's no way it should be retired. If you compare it to other ball players that's had theirs retired, it's just so this is just another honor added to his.
Yeah, when you see his stats are similar or better than some of the ones that have already been retired, and all of a sudden you're saying, well, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
and that's what you were able to bring up to the
He's still 7th all-time in SEC scoring. You talk about Pete Maravich and all this. He's still 7th today after 38 years.
And he doesn't have a jersey up?
A.W. Davis is also going to be honored. And, of course, A.W. passed away, I think, in 2013 or 2014, something like that.
Close.
So it's too bad that he's not going to be around.
So I think this is like a new honor, too, isn't it? Because I believe Steve Hamer called Tony to tell him about it, but it's like I don't think Tony had really heard about it. It's kind of a
no. It's something I think they started there several years ago, maybe 5 years ago or so. But it's not publicized as well as some of the other things. But A.W., he was my freshman coach. At UT.
Was he really?
Yeah, my freshman coach over there.
He was All-American too, wasn't he?
Yeah, Coach Aberdeen was the freshman coach, but he had a heart problem the year I was a freshman. So A.W., who was the assistant freshman coach. Of course, freshmen weren't eligible at that time. So I had A.W. Davis was my coach that year. And
so what kind of coach was he?
The assistant coach was Billy Hahn. You remember Billy Hahn?
Yeah,
that played point guard here
yeah.
at a couple pretty good guys to get yourself started in college as far as basketball is concerned. So I learned a lot from both of those guys. So congratulations to both of those basketballers and everybody else concerned with that award that they're going to hand out over there. Hey, Tennessee basketball this week, kind of a mixed bag, Dwayne.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Last week they played Oklahoma, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think that's the best game they've played all year.
Yeah,
or arguably the best game that they've played. They won 70-52. They were up 45-25 at the half, and as far as I'm concerned, I was really surprised because I thought Oklahoma would, based on what they had done at home throughout the year, would give them a better game, but not so much.
Lanier played good.
Tennessee just went there and dominated, didn't they?
They did. Lanier came out and played good that game. Of course, Ziegler did too.
Yeah.
But they were aggressive, and from the get-go, they played good in that game. I was tickled to see them more aggressive, and especially Lanier. He had like 21 points. We need his scoring.
Yeah. They shut those threes down. They didn't put up as many threes out there in Oklahoma. They played the way they should have played, inside out, and they took the ball. They penetrated. Ziegler took the ball in there and dished it off, and he had a good game. He had 17 points, and the inside players played really well. Opara and Bluetick both played well in there. So it was a good day all the way around. They shot 60% from the floor, and they put up 21 threes, which maybe that's more than they should be putting up, but it wasn't 45.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a far cry from the 45.
That's the good news. It wasn't 45.
They shot 42%, 9-21, and on that. But with all their aggressiveness, this was one of the statistics that surprised me. They really played that tough defense out there at Oklahoma. I mean, they really got after them.
They did.
And they tend to do that on the road when they're up against the wall, so to speak. And they only got from their end on the offense, Tennessee's end, only shot 5 free throws.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing.
College basketball game, you only got 5 free throws. I thought that was amazing. And something else that I thought Tennessee got away with, and this is very characteristic of Rick Barnes' teams, they turned it over 19 times.
Wow.
And that's
Donnie,
that's
not usual.
Usually you look at that box score, and if you're seeing, it's usually going to be around 8, 9, 10, 11, some 19, and get away with it on the road the way they got away with it by 18 points. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Is.
Yeah, they lift a possible 38 points on the floor on the floor with those turnovers.
Yeah. Goodness.
But anyway, and the bench, we've been talking about, well, they're not getting any scoring off the bench. They got 14 points off the bench out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the most complete game I think I've seen them play at least all season.
Yes.
This year.
Yeah, I felt real good about it. And then, big game, play well, and then you got next game. Then you got the next game. And they went up to Kentucky, and Marcus, that was a beat-up Kentucky team, pretty much up there. And they lost a player during the game, Butler, I think that's who it was. And they had players out, and I thought, man, I'm feeling really good about it. And Tennessee usually plays pretty well up at Rupp Arena, but
not this time.
The last 3 minutes, they were in and up until the last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It looked pretty good, and then that was it. That was it.
I find it interesting that with 5 losses, every one of them have come at the hands of SEC teams.
Yeah.
Which is also 5 top 15 team losses.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, it's not surprising. But anyway, SEC's tough. And I'll tell you something somebody said about the SEC in a little while in the headlines.
Yeah, well, they got Lenardi's got 14 teams in the NCAA tournament. I mean, I don't know why I don't know why people's going to watch the NCAA tournament. Just watch the SEC tournament, and you can be probably better than the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Could
14
be.
teams, Mark, that's unbelievable, isn't it?
Unheard of.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at it, and I think he had Georgia as the last team in last Saturday when we finished play, and I was just Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start counting down the SEC standings, you're like, wow, we're going to put a lot. They're thinking we're really going to put a lot of teams in, and anyway.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, I'm not on the big game next game. I'm like on big game, next big game, next big game. I mean,
big game.
There isn't a break in this schedule, and
No.
you got Vanderbilt, which is a rivalry coming into today, and you've already lost to them once, which is probably of your losses the worst one you have in RPI. But it just felt like Tennessee didn't quite have its legs, and to me, Barnes was very good X's and O's with what he wanted to do against Calipari's system. And we saw that a little bit when they played Arkansas in the SEC opener. But I don't think anybody's got a good feel for what Kentucky actually wants to do with a first-year coach, and because they've had the injuries they've had, so they're doing some things they don't really want to do, and nobody knows exactly what they're going to see from them.
Yeah.
So when you're keying on defense, it's very hard to get that keyed up to what you're going to stop and how you're going to stop it if you have no idea what they're going to do.
That's true.
It started bad with Butler's,
Yeah.
He stole Ziegler's
Yeah.
right off the bat.
Man, he did. I'm going to tell you right now, he stole that ball like it's candy.
Yeah.
But
what was surprising about the game is that two Kentucky backups. One came in the game averaging 1 point.
Two freshmen. wasn't
Two
it?
freshmen. One was averaging 1.5 points a game. The other one was 2.0. Both of them.
Yeah, Perry and what's the other guy?
Yeah, both of them hit at least 12 points each.
Well, that's what I mean.
So
If
that
you
was
have
the
no idea what these guys are going to do when they come in the game,
Yeah.
and you've got so much of your game plan is built around defensive intensity and shutting it down, and you're getting a blank slate and have no clue what
No
these
idea.
guys are going
Yeah,
to do.
yeah, like that. Those guys.
these 5 games you've talked about that they've lost, and they're all in the SEC.
Right.
I'm going to go back to this again. They just don't have that close player. That go-to guy right there when that game's on the line. It was almost like the other night. Like, I don't really think I want the ball right here. And you're looking at the team out there, and you're saying, where's Dalton Connect when we really need him? But they don't have that in the last 3 minutes. And Barnes kept, in his post-game and throughout the last couple of days says, well, the mental aspect. We lost the mental aspect right down there. I'm going to tell you what they did. What they lost was they got out of their game. You look at Zagai out there, Ziegler, and what a game, he plays. I mean, he plays great defense. He penetrates with the ball. But when the game's on the line, like the other night at Kentucky, where was the penetration? Where was his penetration? Why did you take it in there and lob it or throw it off to somebody else? You're the quarterback out there. Instead, in the last 3 minutes, what did they do? They reverted back to shooting outside shots.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they weren't good shots, but they reverted back to that. And my gosh, look what they ended up with. 3 for 18 from three-point shot, and you're taking 3-point shots and outside shots trying to win the game in Rupp Arena when you're shooting the ball that poorly?
Yeah.
That's not mental. That's just, you're not doing what you need to do, what you do well to win the game.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't know.
Tennessee
half
does
is 0 for
not
5.
shoot the 3 well when they're trying to shoot the 3. And I mean when they're passing around the perimeter.
Yeah.
Tennessee's best shooting percentages on the 3 are in transition, which isn't exactly a favorite, but they are good at it when they're in transition and when they're kicking it out.
Drive and kick.
But when they are moving the ball around the perimeter, they are not a strong three-point shooting team, and that's what they did. And you're absolutely right, because that starts with that penetration. And if they're not collapsing on you, taking that shot. There's too many times Tennessee is going to the rim, and they're defending the kick out rather than defending the shot, and they're not taking the shot.
Yeah. Gainey and Lanier were 7 for 25 from the field. And you talk about Meshack. I like Meshack. I mean, he's a
hustler.
He's a Rick Barnes guy.
Yeah.
He's going to play good defense. He's going to hustle out there. He get a point. Not 1 point. He did not score in the basketball game, and you're going, well, that's really good. You give us a lot of defense, but we're playing 4-on-5 on offense. That's not a very good percentage.
No.
You see?
Yep. I think
It's
it's real
just that this team's got some they've got some real issues.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
it's not like last year. I mean, there's some issues here.
Yeah, I like same as you said. You know, they said, "Well, where's Dalton Connect? Where's Dalton?"
Yeah.
Dalton Connect doesn't know where he's at. Is he?
Yeah.
He doesn't know where he
Is
is.
he LA? Is he
He's on the
Charlotte?
plane back
Where the
now.
heck is he?
He's coming
Where is he
back now.
playing?
They need to suit up
But-
Eli
and-
Graff.
I know. I put Eli in there. Absolutely. He'll play.
But earlier in the season, I thought Lanier was going to be that go-to guy, but he's kind of
He
faltered.
feels like
Just-
he's capable of being your scorer, but I'm not sure he's capable of being your closer.
no.
Or he hasn't shown that. He hasn't shown that
No, they don't have a closer.
killer initiative.
They don't have a closer.
But earlier in
They
the
don't.
year, I thought he was.
They don't have a closer. It's just
Yeah.
almost like they don't want the ball. I'm
Yeah.
not sure whether I really want the ball.
Shooters want
right
the
here.
ball, though, don't
Yeah, you want the ball. You know, you know. I mean, but you know, you talk about the 3-point shot. Who should have been shooting the 3-point shot the other night? Belichick. He's 3
Yeah.
for 4 from threes, and we're not getting him the ball.
That's right.
Why are
he
we
was.
getting him the ball? He's 3
High
for
percentage.
4.
That's right. He was.
Yeah.
They was
you
0
know.
for 5 in the first half.
I don't know,
on
but
for threes.
they've got 2 losses against Kentucky, and that's, you know, when you look at
I hate
seasons
that,
and you
yeah.
look back and Vol fans, it's not, you know, a split's okay, you know, they understand, but when you get swept,
Yeah, it's
and
not,
now you got Vanderbilt coming in today, and they've
that
already
won't be
beaten you.
easy either.
You don't want to get swept by Vandy because there you
No.
go. You're
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
back and go, man, it was a pretty good year, but man, we got swept by Vandy and Kentucky.
That's the
That-
two ones. Yeah.
Dwayne, that's not a good setting right there.
No, everybody remembers playing Kentucky. You know, if you win or lose. So yeah, that's not good at all.
Yeah. Hey, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Donnie Moore will provide the high school scores from around the area and other news. And veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons will join us with his feature, Mark It Down. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the GoTeez Sports Page. Donnie Moore, before you get started, you know, yesterday was Valentine's Day. And,
It was.
You know, I think back, boy, this is a long time. It's funny how you remember things, you know, certain things in your life. But 56 years ago, the principal at our high school, you know, we had a basketball game that was lined up to play on a Saturday night at home. And he called Butler University and rented out Butler Fieldhouse. Our high school rented out Butler Fieldhouse, where Butler University plays, and the movie Hoosiers was filmed in the big arena there.
Right.
And we played Marshall of Indianapolis in there, and it was Valentine's Day. And we had some students that in the balcony part of Butler Fieldhouse, they put a big banner up that said the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. We were supposed to be the
Historical reference.
we were supposed to be the ones to massacre Marshall, but they came in and shot the light out of it. We rented the arena out, and they came in and beat us. It was a high-scoring game. I don't know, something like 92 to 88 or
Good
something
grief.
like that for a high school game.
That's
which
a
was
lot
good.
of points.
But that's a long time ago, and being Valentine's Day, I always kind of remember that. And that sign that was put up.
Yeah, I bet. I
But
bet you
anyway, I'll turn it over to you. It's getting close to tournament time around here in
do.
basketball.
It is. This is, you know, last week of regular season basketball games in the area. So let's talk some prep hoops. Compliments of our friends at Mandy B Street Realty on the local scoreboard today. One game Thursday night in the area. William Blount hosted Eagleton in a senior night contest, and that'd be they didn't play last night, but they played on Thursday this week. Lady Govs won one. I mean, they're 6-23 on the year, but they did win one against Eagleton. Eagleton's 3-22 on the season.
Well, something had to give.
Well, they did. You're right. WB wins 61-28. An interesting story here. Savannah Darnell, William Blunt's star basketball player, 1,000-pointer this year. She showed up before the game with her arm in a sling. She hurt her arm last game, and it was her shooting arm, her right arm. So here's what happened. She started the game anyway, took off her sling, got in the game, started the game, and they had it prearranged. WB gets the tap off, throws it to Savannah, who's standing under her basket, under William Blunt's basket right there, and she shoots a left-handed layup and makes it.
There you go.
And so she got to score in her last ever home basketball game. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? Thanks to Eagleton right there for that. Boys game saw Eagleton win this one. They're 20-6 on the season, and William Blunt's 4-25. They beat the Govs 54-45.
Yeah, they're having a fine year.
They really are having a good year. That's great. Probably the premier game in the area was Alcoa hosting Maryville last night, and the Tornadoes performed well last night. Won a twin bill, 66-55 in the girls contest. Alcoa Lady Tees are 22-6 on the season. Maryville's 10-18.
Yeah.
So congratulations to the Lady Tees, and also the Tornadoes performed well. Put up 77 points against a good Maryville defense. Alcoa is 22-5. Maryville scored 65 points, so 77-65. Alcoa wins. Maryville's 18-11.
Yep. We got Steve Bledsoe in here this morning. Steve, has Alcoa or Maryville has Maryville beaten Alcoa in anything this year?
They split in basketball.
They split in basketball.
But we kicked Dwayne off to make some room here, but he was talking about one of the best moments in that game last night was Eli Graff with his 5'9" frame going up against Brody, who's 6'5" and 250.
And he doesn't care.
And he doesn't care. He didn't care. Football doesn't care basketball.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Oh, goodness. I have a girls' score for the Greenback at Harriman game last night. Harriman's 13-12. Greenback is 0-25. I hope, that's a terrible way to end a season, but I hope they do well in the tournament. Harriman beats Greenback girls last night 59-17.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, Steve Bledsoe. If I hadn't won one, you want to be noticed, I guess maybe just go ahead and keep it clean the rest of the way.
Yeah. The thing about it is, over the last 30 years or so, the best team that's been around this area has been Greenback.
Yeah, you're right.
In 1987, they lost 2 games.
Yep, that's true.
And won the state tournament.
We've talked about Greenback numerous times on the show, how they've been really good in their sports program up there in football and baseball and basketball, and they're going through some growing pains right now. And that's what happens, Steve, in high school sports. Sometimes you go through these peaks and valleys, and that's kind of what's happening there.
They are. They've had some changes, especially in their football program, but hopefully they're get back to where they need to be. Richie Wilhite just recently hired as their football coach. Heritage went to Seymour last night, Marcus, and were very unkind to the Eagles in both games.
Tri-county battle, Crossroads, and I'm not surprised by our girls' score. If you want to toss that out there, because Heritage is having that good of a year. They've only lost to Sevier County twice this year, so that's true. I mean, they're pretty much unbeaten.
So Heritage girls at 26-2 on the season were victorious over Seymour, 49-25. Seymour's 17-9 on the season. Pretty respectable year.
And they're 17-9, and when you hold a team at home to 25 points and knock down 9 threes, you're going to win.
Yeah.
I mean,
most definitely.
They hit enough threes to beat them just on 3-pointers.
And we've talked all year long about how the Heritage boys are just quietly winning basketball games.
Yeah.
And as a result, they're 21-6 on the year, and they beat Seymour last night, who was 8-19, 61-55. Yeah. So Heritage boys, have had a banner year for their basketball program.
And see, the good news is Alcoa and Eagleton, that district tournament's going to be at Eagleton this year. So that one's going to be close. But for Heritage, I hate to tell you all this, but they got to go to Sequoia.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hike down the state road to get down there 4 nights for 4 games from Heritage.
Yep.
Well, they can eat at Birch.
Exactly.
Yeah, down there.
Marcus, you got any other high school news for the
Well, we're in the
local
midst.
news?
We're in midst sectional wrestling.
We are.
Started yesterday. It's going on again today. We're getting that full list of qualifiers together. Will be in the Daily Times.
Good deal.
Sunday and Monday. Let me just say, if you didn't see today's paper, with the holiday, the Daily Times is going to be e-edition on Monday because of the holiday. They don't deliver the paper, so it's going to be
when
e-edition.
they don't deliver mail, you don't get a newspaper.
So it'll kick back. It'll kick back up and print on Tuesday, and
good.
We'll start. They'll be starting off with the prep coverage, previewing tournaments, and following up with what's happened at who's going to be going to state this coming weekend. Back to the cattle barn in Williamson County.
Yep, that's it. Where you can smell it before you see it.
Well, they are really good with the massive Febreze. I mean,
yeah, I know.
I think they buy Febreze by the barrel.
It's better than it used to be.
But they at least don't have the rodeo the weekend before anymore.
True that. That's good. All right, that's all we have for the Mandy B Street Realty local scoreboard for this week. I'm going to remind you that you're listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio, and now I'm going to make a bounce pass over to my friend and mentor and cohort Marcus Fitzsimmons for his feature, Mark It Down.
Well, thanks, Donnie. You're getting better with that handoff all the time. I'm going to quit fumbling it one of these days. We have Alcoa softball in the house, and if you heard me right, softball, because as we said, it's here.
It is here.
We're in preseason. There's preseason soccer tournament going on at Heritage today. I mean, we're at spring sports, and we have tried for years and keep running into this problem that we want to get some of our best softball teams in, and they're playing every Saturday during the season, and we can't get them in.
Yeah,
so
it's
I started making deals, and Coach was nice enough to volunteer to send her seniors over this morning before they got all wrapped up in the season tournaments to start the year. So we have the 4 Alcoa seniors in here today, and they're under the direction of Blount County Hall of Famer Steve Bledsoe.
That's right. I wanted to congratulate Steve on his recent induction into the Blount County Sports Hall of Fame.
Well,
Steve, great job.
Thank you. They're running out of people, I think.
Nah, come on.
There's
Still
no
plenty.
shortage of people in this county.
Still plenty in this county.
You might have a couple future ones sitting right there beside you.
Good. Yeah.
And I'm glad all 4 of them can make it. Can you introduce these 4 to us? Who are these Alcoa seniors this year?
Okay, we have Kara Pitts, Gabby Burkhart, Adriana King, and Dylan Jablonski.
All 4 of them.
All 4 of them.
And I understand all 4 of them have
Hard
signed.
to line up.
All 4 of them have signed scholarships, and they are 4-year starters. As freshmen, they won the state as starters. So this will be their 4th year, and that's our goal.
Okay, so usually we want to talk about season, but I actually want to talk because this is unique. I want to start with Kara, and I want to talk about signing day. Now you signed with Lee, correct? Oh, Donnie, turn her on.
I will. Hang on a second.
There we go.
All right, now we got it.
Okay, so you signed with Lee?
Yes.
So I'm sure you've told this several times. What was the big attraction with Lee? What was the thing that kind of?
I love their coaching staff. They're very sweet, and the campus is beautiful.
So.
And it's not very far away either.
No, not far. But you got to mention just a minute ago, we were talking about Alcoa playing basketball as well. What is that transition like when you're also playing basketball? I know you have a couple players playing basketball going to softball. Do you all have to catch up? Do you have to split practice time? How does that work?
Yeah, we miss a couple games, like scrimmages and stuff. It depends how far we make it. Because freshman year when we went to state for basketball, we missed like the first 3 games of the actual season. But, yeah, we don't even get to practice or anything. We just get thrown into the games, really.
So there's no like you finish shooting free throws and then you go over and start having to do pitchers and catchers work right after? They actually give you a break?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad homework fits in there somewhere. Now, marketing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so here on the sports page, we're always looking for marketing opportunities. So maybe we could work out something. You can come back and do some internships, maybe help us get promoted and make a bigger audience. Is that a possibility?
Yes.
All right. Now, I'm going to make sure I've got this right. Adriana? So, Johnson.
Yes.
Staying close to home, what was the attraction with the program? I know we've got a coach that nobody really recognizes is over there.
I really like our head coach, Dana. She's really sweet and really nice, and she's really kind on my visit. And she's always been super sweet to me ever since I've met her.
And Coach mentioned it, but you all been 4-year starters. What's been your favorite moment? I know you still got a season ahead, but of these past 3 seasons, what's been the favorite moment?
Probably winning state.
Winning state. So, you shared a story with one of my cohorts going back to freshman year in that state championship run. I believe it was a district tournament game. Seems like maybe coach got kicked out. Can you share that story? What happened there?
I don't really remember what happened, but I just know like she got in an argument with the umpire about something.
And she was right, but go ahead.
She was right. And like we had to work as a team to like win the district tournament without our head coach being there.
Was that kind of a bonding moment looking back at where you are now?
Yeah.
That kind of set the tone for what was going to happen not only that season, but the last 2 seasons, really.
Right.
Okay. Where's Gabby? There's Gabby. Okay. So say it. Is it Montreat?
Montreat. Yeah.
We always Montreat or Montreat. How did you find Montreat, or did they find you, or what was the connection?
Well, for my major, there's not a lot of schools around here that have it. And so I went on a visit to Reinhardt, and then it was after those 2 that I found out about Montreat. Montreat's like one of the best schools for my major, so I'm like.
Tell them what your major is.
Cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And she's no wonder she was giving me the evil eye when she was looking at what we were doing. She was looking at all this equipment we have, thinking that doesn't look right. I saw that. So, what is the cybersecurity interest?
I've always wanted to do like criminal investigations, but I'm very like not comfortable with like blood and all that, and so I still wanted to do something with that, but didn't want to have to like be on scene and do all that. So that's kind of a little branch of it.
So I can see an analyst for the FBI sitting across from her.
But she's also guaranteed a job, right?
Yeah,
when she graduates.
Great.
So if they have a program up there, if I get into it, they pay all of my expenses, tuition, room and board, and then I have to work for them for 4 years.
Sounds like a good deal to me.
Yeah.
So that leaves the obvious question. NCIS or CSI, which one was the one that got you really interested in that?
I don't know. I watch a lot of Forensic Files. So.
Okay, even better. She goes for the actual true life stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to pick on you because you mentioned this a little bit in your when we talked to you for your signing. You all play so much softball, and we've talked about it on the show, but it's like you all play year round at this point almost. It's a concern, I guess, that we have talked about is it's easy to burn out when you do that, when you're playing the same thing year round all the time. Is there a way that players get through that? Is there ebbs and flows to softball?
Yeah, I mean, like, when you're not playing well, obviously you're not going to be very happy. I know that happened to me sophomore year. I'd come off state championship freshman year, and then coming to sophomore year, I just wasn't playing as well as I did freshman year, and I wanted to quit. And I'm sure everyone here has had those moments too. But it's just, you know, we've all been playing since we were younger. And
he's a big head.
We're sharing headsets, and we just had a transfer that I believe it may have been as bad as Donnie's handoff to me.
It's just knowing, like, you have all these people around you that are going to support you, and just knowing that if you lean on them, you'll get through it.
Okay, now that you got a headset on, Dylan, we can pick on you. Also going to Johnson, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what was your connection with Johnson? What kind of led you over there?
Definitely the coaching staff to start with, but I love their campus and like the way their team had like their chemistry on their team. It just looks like some more fun, and so.
You get a little bit longer break, but you're balancing multiple sports as well.
Yes.
So we didn't really get a chance to follow up. How was volleyball season? How did it go? How did Alcoa? How did it wrap for you guys?
Well, we ended up losing in regions, and it's not as far as we wanted to go, but it was still a good season.
And you know from the softball side, it's just that thin of a line between making sectional and state and getting stuck in regional.
Yes.
So, best memory? What's the last 3 years? Is it going to be winning state, or is there something else that sticks out at this point?
For me, it's winning state, but I don't know if anything can top that unless we do it again this year.
And there's the thing, the unspoken question.
That's right.
Which we hope that's the goal this year. Now, I've been saving the tough question because when I originally negotiated the appearance, we were looking at last Saturday.
Right.
And I was informed that you all had a conflict, that possibly there was a formal or something going on. Is that correct?
Maybe across the road?
Yeah, we may have seen a sign for that. So the question is, who had the best time last Saturday at the formal?
Sounds like a Brian Johnson question to me.
Well, this is me channeling the boss.
There
who
we
had
go.
who had the best
Hope
time
he's
at
listening.
formal last Saturday?
They played really bad music. Really bad.
No, they did not play
They
that.
played Beyonce and everybody left.
Okay, who actually liked their dress?
Oh, yeah, I
Raise
like
your
my
hand.
dress. I like
Okay,
my dress.
everybody was happy with that part.
Yes.
Okay, did anybody have traumatic hair experiences? Because that was actually the big concern. Was I don't want anybody to have conflict with their hair appointments. So,
Mine
Coach
was
was
good.
looking out for you.
Yeah, mine was
Mine
fine.
was
Okay, I'm glad that all worked out.
Yeah.
I appreciate a coach that looks out for her players, because not
Sure.
every coach will think of that. And I don't, Coach Bailey was looking out. I mean, she was on top of that. So you got the 4 seniors. Is this the team leadership? Are you guys looking? I guess not only going into the season with your own goals, but looking at, we've played for 4 years. We're going to leave big holes behind us. So we've got to do some stuff to make sure this doesn't stop with us. Is that a thought process among the seniors this year?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. I would say so.
I'd say it's more like finish out strong than like worry about what's left.
And how big a grind is? I was mentioning it. We have a hard time getting guys on because you play so many times where you go to these tournaments and are playing Friday, Saturday, sometimes on Sunday, and then coming back to district play a day later. Is it a grind getting through March and April in this regular season?
Honestly, I would say we're used to it. We all play on the same travel ball team, so we play like week-long tournaments all summer. So.
Okay, so then the other tough question, I'm going to come back to Coach and put him on the spot a little bit, but you can go ahead and keep it for now. It's okay. So I want to go poll. I want to poll you guys. If you had to pick, what's your favorite time of year to play? Is it to play spring, summer, or fall? And what is the favorite time to play? Do you like the morning game or do you like the late night game? I'll start on you.
I would say fall because I think it's the best weather. Playing in the cold is actually terrible. Yeah. And I like late night games.
Late night, okay.
I have to say summer, just because I don't like being cold. And then I have to say like midday, not super early, not super late. just like midday.
Middle of the road girl right there.
Donnie's got that one pegged.
I would say late spring, and just because it's not too cold, and it's obviously not too hot. But I would I don't like morning games. I'm not a morning person.
Okay, so that's you're anything but the morning.
Yeah.
That's an acceptable answer. We'll take that.
Yep.
And
I'm with her about anything but the mornings, like early mornings, and also anytime it's warm. Like anything below like 50, that's not for me. It's cold.
okay, and before you hand this off, we'll start with you and go back down. Favorite uniform Alcoa has? What's your favorite setup?
I like all white.
The all whites.
Yes.
Okay.
I have two different ones. I like all white, but I also like our all black uniform.
Okay. And
I like the light gray top with the maroon pants. I just don't like how the maroon pants fit.
Yeah.
legitimate. We can go with that.
I would say that too.
Okay, so we got a little bit of a consensus, Coach. You take notes of that. You can pass along back.
Well, we've got no uniforms this year.
Oh.
So.
What's coming this year?
The maroon with gray pinstripes. So they look better than any rest of it, in my opinion.
Nice. That sounds like it'll be sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, they look good.
Is it kind of a Yankee look to it in the pinstripe, or is it more the thicker one? Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously, Coach misses out on this, so you get a tough question. High expectations for this team.
Well, our expectations is to win the state. The thing about Coach Bailey, she schedules a good schedule. We, outside of our district, we play Farragut. We play all the county teams. We play Dobbins-Bennett. We play Dobbins-Bennett.
Yeah.
We lost one game in the state last year prior to going to state tournament. We had lost 3 games. Team from Alabama beat us, and a team from Virginia, and then we split with Gibbs. And we run real Farragut. They're always usually pretty good. So and we're deep. Pitching wise, we've probably got 4 or 5 pitchers. And Adriana doesn't really like to pitch. She's left-handed. She pitched a 4-hitter in the state.
It was a good game
as a freshman. And then Gabby was a pitcher of the year as a freshman. So this will be their 4th year. So.
And see, I didn't put them on the spot about whether they'd rather be in the circle or in the field, but because sometimes those answers are good, but we can save that for another day because I'm going to lay down a challenge to them here in a minute. So.
Okay.
When you've got this much talent, but you've also got 4-year starters, I tried to get them to say it, but you all have the balancing act because you can appreciate and have the goals, but at the same time, coaches have to think about the program, and there's always next season. So does that change the approach for some of these tournament games as maybe shifting some people in?
Yeah, you've got, especially, we play 4 weekend tournaments to prepare for the state tournament. And so, some teams have to ride one pitcher, and really softball's different from baseball. But in the tournament games, we'll pitch 3 or 4 people. That's like, I think, which game did you pitch in Chattanooga last year? Was it Meigs County?
Mm-hmm.
Or Meigs County state tournament team, and we beat Meigs County, and she wasn't our ace last year. Okay, so we've got a lot of depth. So.
Okay, now I've got one for you that's not going to be a tough one because you've been around this a while. Yeah. You don't get Hall of Fame without being around this for a while.
Not softball.
And this is something I've noticed in the last couple seasons, and it's a pun to say it this way, but having the Game Changer app has changed the game a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Because high school softball, it used to be like a conundrum trying to find out anything about anybody outside of a team you covered. You couldn't get stats. You couldn't get players spelling, how they spelled their name. You didn't know what they looked like. Now it's all on an app that we can touch it and see it, and you can pull up any player's stats and see how they hit. Well, some of them they can.
Because Sarah blocks it.
Some of them when you're on the friendly side of the app for that team, which thankfully you all are gracious enough to let us do, you can find out some of those key things. But the information, it feels like it has made the game more accessible for people that can't go out to the ballpark every night.
Yeah.
Especially for a mom and dad that has to work late or something like that.
Right. And also, you can pull up a play on your phone that just happened. So, you know, when we're getting on Larry Hunt or whatever for missing the call, he'll say, I had missed it. But I'm sitting here, you know, you missed it by a foot.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but I'm appreciating
Well, he and I have been friends for a long time, so he wouldn't mind.
True.
He knows I'm just messing with him.
So here's the challenge as we always lay down. If you have off weekends, we will try to get you back on here. But we are always very excited to have teams show back up with state championship trophies and put them on the table here in front of them because it looks really good on the table. It actually fits very well. We have space reserved for that. So if you were to go down to Spring Fling and come back with the state championship trophy, you've got an automatic invite to come back and visit with us the following Saturday. So if you needed that extra bit of incentive, because I know getting up early from what you all said on Saturday morning is one of your favorite things to do, we'll give you that invitation to come back and win your way back on the show. But we wish you all the best of luck. Great start to season coming up in about 3 weeks, right, Coach?
Yes.
So.
And I will say this, too. I mean, for all of them, they're all-state players. Okay? And they've all made all-district, all-county, everything. So, you know.
Yeah, choosing all-county in this county is harder than picking all-state nominees. I'll tell you that from doing that.
But the most important thing, though, they're all good teammates. Okay? There's only one here that causes a little drama.
And we're going to let you guess who that is, folks. So cast your vote online as to who is the drama person. And we'll close out with that, Mike, and turn the page while social media goes wild.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, it's time to turn the page. Next up, the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, B.F. Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew. And now it's time for the GoTeez Sports Page Player of the Week segment featuring Daily Times senior reporter Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority, proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years. Well, you're warmed up, Marcus. We'll let you keep on going here, huh?
I feel like we should be doing the fast signs thing. I feel like I was running a marathon with that one.
That was a good interview.
I mean,
great.
I love that team. I love it. Anytime we can have them come in, they're always fun.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just so many good players on that team. It's hard to give everybody. I don't even know how they managed to get them all on the field.
I was surprised how many pitchers they have. You know, most teams have got one pitcher. You know, they pitch game in and game out.
Well, that's the thing.
Softball.
They've got a whole staff.
If it came down to it, they've got, I think, pretty much 4, maybe 5 that could actually be that every game starter for almost any team.
Yeah.
And still come away winning 20 games. It's amazing. Like I said, it's hard for me to balance between those 4 seniors. I don't know how they balance between that whole roster where they've got that much talent. But going to do a little bit of change of pace here. Special guest this morning. Brock Evans is joining us from Pellissippi State Community College, athletic director. And I heard about 4 people on the radio go, huh, that name sounds familiar.
We should.
Should. Brock was on some of those great Maryville teams. Do I remember right? You were class of 06, is that right?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
That's correct.
So we might pick on a little bit of that if we get some time, but I really wanted to get you in here because having Pellissippi have athletic program and getting it off the ground, it's just a whole new opportunity for a lot of the athletes in the area, and I just wanted to get you in here.
Yeah, absolutely.
What has been the challenge to get this thing started? I mean, there's got to be a lot of them, but
pick one if you can pick one.
So we started all this. I started 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. I should be honest. So it was November 1st, 2022, and the school announces it had been in the works for a while that the school that we had been looking. So I actually had already worked at the college in an academic and administration role. And then when this came open, I was looking to get back into sports anyways. I'd always missed it, because I had coached college football after I got done playing in college and just missed it. So the opportunity came, I applied, and so then you get going, right? The challenges for us coming into this is so we're in Region 7 of the NJCAA, TBR schools. All of us are TBR schools within Region 7, Tennessee. So that includes Roane, Walters, Chat, Cleveland.
People that have been playing sports for a while.
50 years, to be exact.
Yeah.
They have a 50-year head start on us. And so the biggest challenges were, there's not a manual on how do you start an athletic department. I'll just be honest with you guys. There's not something that says this is how you do it. And I will tell you, so the folks within our conference were great. Derek Creech up at Walter State, Dave Lane down at Roane. Those were folks I kind of leaned on when we started this. My old athletic directors up at Union College, Tim Curry, some of those guys, I leaned on them. Sam Lee, who's now the associate athletic director up at University of the Cumberlands. Those were guys that I leaned on as we started to build this. And then the biggest thing was hiring coaches. And so for me, being a Blount County kid, growing up in Maryville, when I was a coach, I recruited this area heavily, not only just Blount County, but Knox County as well, and it felt like such a missed opportunity, right, for people to overlook those areas. So for me, when I was hiring coaches, I wanted somebody who was intimately familiar with this area, somebody who could recruit our backyard well, and that's kind of what I've preached. You gotta build the fence around Knox County, Blount County, and Loudoun County. Those are our service areas at Pellissippi State. And I mean, there's just so much talent in this area in pretty much every sport.
I was going to say, if you want to build a fence there, and I'm thinking about athletes from that particular area that have had stellar careers at Chattanooga State or Walter State, they may be helping you out, but they're not going to be helpful for very long if you're successful.
Yeah. And we do. The thing is, and I was even like this when I was young. You want to get away, right? So we'll lose athletes every once in a while to Chad or some of the Middle Tennessee schools, and because they want to get away from home. They've lived here for 18 plus years, and they're ready to stretch their legs. And the challenge there is, though, and I can tell you this because all of us Region 7 schools, none of us have housing or dorms. So anytime you go to another one of our competitors like us, and even for us, when we bring kids up from Chattanooga, the challenge is housing. We don't have dorms, and it's expensive. I've got kids right now that when I talk to them, there'll be 4 or 5 of them splitting an apartment that's more than my mortgage, right? That's just the reality these days.
Are there dorms that are, apartments that have a little bit of a connection with the school that you say, okay, come up here?
Yeah.
These are the 3 or 4 that we can recommend for you to check out?
Yeah, so it depends upon the program. Mm-hmm. So we're in this weird mix where I've got some sports that are Division I in the sports we compete in. So Division I for us means that we can award scholarships towards housing, books, and et cetera. I've got some sports that are Division II, which means I can't award based upon housing. Okay? It's a weird mix. We all do it in the TBR. Our volleyball programs, men's soccer, for example, those are D2 programs. Okay.
And those are startups,
yes,
pretty much, because they're not. None of the programs are all that old, but those are some of the newer teams that have come on.
Yeah, and the Big Four, baseball, softball, men's, women's basketball is what they refer to them in the conferences. The Big Four, those are all Division I. Okay, so if I'm working with a Division I athlete, or my coaches are working with a Division I athlete, they can say, "Hey, we've got this list of apartments, that we would recommend." If they're from a Division II school, we can't do anything of that nature, and so we don't get into it. There are a lot around us, and so we center all our sports around the Hardin Valley campus.
Right.
Because that's our main campus. There are some apartments that back up to campus, but those apartments are not cheap. I'll just put it that way.
So, Coach, this is a dumb question, but I will guarantee you that most of the listeners could not answer it. But what is the mascot? What is it? Pellissippi State
Panthers.
Panthers. Okay.
Panthers. Yeah.
So, from the marketing perspective, because I've been poking around looking, we've had some signings coming out of the county recently. Is there a shirt for the athletic teams that is "P.S. I love you," like the movie?
No, but that's clever.
Very good.
And I'll need to get marketing
right
work on. They did something similar to that. Our marketing department did for like general student orientation weekend. It had like a PS and a heart. That's a good idea, though. I'll have to get them on that.
There you go.
Hey, we get nuggets
I
every
like
now
that.
and then.
Yeah. Marcus always has these ideas right there.
So
he's on a roll, isn't he?
Yeah.
you made one hire in particular that Dwayne and I were talking about a little while ago. Basketball coach, Alcoa background.
Darren.
We thought that was a great hire when it happened. How did that kind of develop?
Well, so Darian had intimate knowledge of the Conference One. He was a long time assistant to Carlisle up at Walter State, who had always been super, super successful. And then, for me growing up, I had heard of Darian because he's 4 years older than me, but Darian was a heck of a basketball player in this area.
Yeah.
And then he was down at Tennessee Wesleyan. And so one of the things I do in all of my interview processes, I ask, what's your recruiting plan? What's it look like? What's it look like for the local kids? What's it look like for the out-of-state kids? How are you tracking this? And, by far he had a very, very well-documented, recruitment plan, which was a big one. But, also there's a lot more that goes into it. But it is kind of funny, the Maryville guy hiring the Alcoa guy. We give each other quite a bit of crap, and I think last night, Alcoa basketball beat Maryville basketball. So I haven't heard from him yet, but they're down at Jackson State right now, so he's got other things to focus on.
So, are you still involved with the golf team? Is that still in your bailiwick, or has that been handed off to your larger duties?
So I was running the golf team for about 2 weeks. So I had a coach last
for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, it was longer than that. It was about a month or 2 months, something like that. And I was trying to run golf practice, and I'd have them out on the greens or chipping and putting. And I'm watching YouTube videos to try and learn as I'm trying to go through the process and due diligence and hire somebody. My first coach, she ended up having a baby. She was awesome, but then she realized as a new mother she needed to dedicate time. Yeah. And so, it was tough for her to leave. So after she left, I hired James Andrews. But, our hiring process as a state of Tennessee school, I will tell you, it's much different than our experience at a private school. I'll just tell you, it's 100% different. And so it takes a long time to get somebody new going and on the road. I can't be like Danny White and snap my fingers and somebody starts tomorrow. I'll tell you that much. So.
But they too are state employees. This seems somewhat unfair.
It's funny how that works out, right?
Yeah, they're different how that works out. But when I look at you, the first thing that comes to my mind, golf coach. I mean, I'm sure it's the first time golfers were doing 3-on-3 drills
I'll enjoy it.
Up down drills.
It's much different than what we knew as football coaches. I got in that golf cart.
Yeah.
And so they have to walk. I mean, college golf is all about carrying your bag, walking it, doing that.
Coach needs to be in the cart.
And I'm just in the cart. And, I'm tracking shots and I'm doing my due diligence there and tracking distances and stuff like that. But, it's a lot different than standing out in the heat screaming. And
especially you being an offensive line guy and all that.
Yeah.
Get your hips up there.
You can't be hard on them because they're already hard on themselves. Yeah. I mean, and that's the biggest thing I learned. You can't be like, hey, what were you thinking? Because he's already thought about it about 30 times.
So you've got the programs, they're getting up and running.
Yeah.
So when it comes to this, like, is the pitch now? You know, you've got free tuition if you qualify in state, that you can come play here and then take your shot at a 4-year about going on, or is that dead now?
So, well, obviously we got a long way to go there. I mean, I'll just tell you with the Diego Pavia case and where it kind of sits in the, what is that, the 7th Circuit Court and all that other stuff.
Yep.
You know, we really don't know where it's going to go next. Now, for me and my staff and my compliance director, we have a lot of conversations about, you know, we have to be mobile, right? Because our messaging changes dependent upon however this ends up shaking out. Obviously, we've got the Alberto Osuna case right now at UT where they're trying to figure out if he's going to be awarded extra eligibility. You know, I have athletes coming to me all the time. Is this all just free now? You know, do I get to now transfer with 4 years? And I can't in good conscience say, yep, you know, that's how this is going to work out, because we don't know. You know, I mean, we really don't know. We just know right now that the court has said that there is not a direct equivalent to a Division I program. That's what we know. So
you guys are left in limbo with everybody else about this.
Exactly. So for us, and my main thing when I started all this was, you know, outside of, we want to recruit, retain, graduate, and then place. So when I was hiring these coaches, a big thing for me was, how are you going to help place these kids to the next stage of their career? Because we're judged based upon wins and losses, but we're also judged on where are our kids going after they get done with us.
Right.
And so that has to be a big portion. And another thing, that's why it goes back to why, you know, Coach Jones, for example, Darian, it's because he knows how to place those student athletes. And, you know, that's a big deal. And that's how ultimately we will be judged.
So when you're doing at this level, are we still dealing with letters of intent or whatever the NIL contract is turning into? or is it like kind of what Coach he used to have to go through? You just see who shows up when they said they were going to show up.
No, so it's a letter of intent process. We do award scholarship money, so those student athletes do sign a letter of intent. It's binding for NJCAA schools, you know, so within ours, you know, but if a student athlete got a Division I offer and went that way, you know, technically they can do that.
Okay, so now can we pick on him about some of the old days? Okay.
There you go. There you go. You thought it was all going to be fun? Yeah. All right.
No, I just want, you know, you were graduating not long after I came to start covering high school athletics in the county. So you were on a team that I don't think we can say it goes up in legendary and their status of some of the things that were going on in Maryville football at that point. Are you still in touch with some of those guys? I mean, how tight is it 20 years later?
You know, a lot of us are kind of spread to the wind, if I'm being 100% honest. I mean, Tyler Maples, last I saw, he's living out in Arizona, you know. So a lot of those guys are kind of spread out. You know, my closest friend, Brad Fulton, he was a safety on that 05 Maryville State Championship team. We actually played college football together. Was a really cool experience. Still my best friend.
University of the Cumberlands.
Union.
I'm sorry. Union.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we played at Union together.
Okay, that's right. Don't hit me for saying that.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
You were just up the road a little bit further.
Still my big rival, but, you know, I'll let this one pass. But that's like asking me, did you play Alcoa?
I know.
Hey, let's not bring Alcoa.
He's asked me Alcoa and Cumberland today. I mean, jeez.
Hey, I'm 67 years old. You're around your dad. You know, sometimes it slips a little bit.
I'll give you a pass.
But you were offensive line, right?
Yes.
So basically, you were blocking for Brent.
Yeah. Well, Brent, Derek Hunt. In 05, we were doing the 2-platoon quarterback system. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember.
So Derek would come in, Brent would play some. There was a lot going on there.
So, yeah, we can put you on the spot 18 years later. Do you prefer blocking for one over the other? Because I remember Derek as a quarterback who was very elusive. If you messed up, you weren't going to look bad.
Yeah. You know, that would be hard to put a call on. I mean, gosh, Brent had an absolute hose on him. So if you gave him the 2.5 seconds, you knew that ball was going to be 50 yards downfield. You know, Derek was always the guy that could call us protection, and he ran that offense to a T. Not to say that Brent didn't, but Derek had a way of moving protections and audibles that, that's what you look for, So it would be hard for me to say if I preferred to block with one over the other. I still see Derek. I haven't seen Brent in years. Derek I still see and hug up on. So, maybe let's go Derek.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll give him because he's here. And
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he can still make influence with recruiting decisions at Pellissippi State.
Yeah.
Good call.
Well, I just want to say our families go way back. Your father and I played together over at Maryville College. He was the starting center, and I was starting linebacker, and he was a great player for us. And, of course, your mother, Kim, we've had a great, long relationship.
Yeah.
Your brother, Derek,
Yeah,
who was played at Carson Newman, was a Remington Award winner for Division II level, which is the best center in the nation. Was a officer for Blount County and was a SRO for Union Grove Middle School, where my wife teaches. He's over at Friendsville right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
And right now they're getting ready for his son to play a little basketball game.
Very good, very good. So our family histories coincide very well with each other. So I just want to say I'm just very proud of him, and I tried to get him to go to Maryville, but he said,
was that what we talked about, man. I was ready to apparently move to southeastern Kentucky.
Yeah, that's right. He wanted to go in the coal mines.
So, I'm trying to think back in my mind. If you came out in 06, so you were the 04, 05, so you won your last 30 games in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that right?
I think it was 38, something like that.
Okay. And the last one, Donnie's giving me that little signal again. Who rules the house at home? Is it Solo, Fenris, or Zelda? And those are the pets.
That's the pet. Yeah. It's got to be the old man, the head of the house, Solo. He's 12 years old. My wife's sitting over there, 12 or 11. 11. He's the head of the house, man. He kind of runs it. But if we had to be real honest, it's her. It's my wife.
Yeah, I was going to say the one that runs the house is the one you're looking at right now.
Yeah, I know. She's sitting there staring at me. It's her. She's the boss.
Well, we appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
We would love if you got coaches and players you want to get on.
I think we
give us a shout out.
We'd
love to have them on and talk about some of these opportunities that weren't there 5 years ago that are now available to all of these students in Blount County.
It's big for us. I just got off the phone with my assistant baseball coach on the way down here today. We've already got several kids. By rule, I can't name names, but we've got several kids off this Maryville baseball team already committed. They're coming off a huge win, honestly. Had a series win yesterday over Walter State, who's been the big dog in our conference, number 17 in the nation. We won that series 2-1. A lot of exciting things, and we're starting to do that with local kids, and so it's exciting. So they would love to come on.
And just for clarification, Donnie, I know I'm in trouble, but they can go to classes at the Blount County campus and still play.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the facilities are on West Knoxville. Is that where the athletic facilities are centered?
Well, baseball's in Bill Meyer Stadium, Ridley Helton, a.k.a. the old Smoky Stadium. Softball's at Knox County Sports Park because we are building those facilities. Soccer's on campus, volleyball's on campus, basketball's on campus. Cross country, they run where their heart takes them.
Okay. We appreciate you coming in, and we wish you the best of luck as this program continues to grow.
Yeah.
We'll give you a Go Panthers.
I appreciate that.
Michael, go ahead and turn the page.
Okay, thanks, Marcus. It's time for a break, and when we return, it's the Boyd Sports Spotlight as Donnie Moore will be up with the national sports headlines, and I'll follow up with some more college basketball. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd Sports Spotlight segment. And first up will be Donnie Moore with the National Sports News. Donnie, before we get started here this morning, I want to wish you and Charlie Paleo happy birthdays. You guys had birthdays this week.
We did, indeed. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that.
Pass on to our listeners that you're going to have some surgery. You know, the last of the month, you just found that out.
Yeah.
Shoulder surgery, and we
yeah,
should
not
best
looking
on
forward to that.
Yeah, well, you'll feel a lot better when it's all over with.
Yeah,
that's
I
what
will.
that baseball does to you. Doesn't it?
Boy, that's for sure.
Throwing that baseball catches up with you. Huh?
Yeah, it does. You're right. You're right.
Well, lay some sports news on us.
You got it, my friend. Let's get right to our segment called Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by Fast Signs. The 67th edition of NASCAR's Crown Jewel, the Daytona 500, kicks off racing season tomorrow at 1:30 p.m., originally scheduled for 2:30, but they've moved it back an hour because of impending weather, bad weather. Okay, so it starts at 1:30 at Daytona International Speedway. Begun in 1959, the Great American Race is arguably the most well-known of all of NASCAR's events. Here are the starters on the first 5 grids. On row 1, Chase Briscoe on the pole, driving number 19, and Austin Cindric on the outside pole, driving car number 2. Row 2 features Bubba Wallace in number 23 and Eric Jones in number 43, which is a familiar number to us, isn't it, Mike?
That's right. That's
Yep.
Richard Petty's
That's
number.
the King's number. You're right. Car number. Row 3 includes William Byron, number 24, and Chris Buescher, number 17. Row 4, Ty Dillon, number 10, and Denny Hamlin driving number 11. Row 5, the last row I've got listed for you here today, is Ross Chastain driving the number 1 car, and Joey Logano driving the number 22 car. The track length is 2.5 miles, and finishing drivers will complete 200 laps on that track. The record for most wins is held by Richard Petty with 7.
Yeah.
7 wins at Daytona 500.
You know, Daytona, it's their premier event.
It is.
In NASCAR, there's no doubt about it, and it's the first race.
Yep,
that's
right.
That's a little unusual in the fact that in Formula One, their premier event is Monaco, and
Sure.
then of course at Indianapolis, the 500, and they have races before those.
They do.
Main events, but NASCAR starts right out of the gate, and they start
sure
right
do.
at Daytona, and that's
Start
the
with
one.
the big
that's
one.
the one
Big one.
everybody wants to win because
yeah.
that's what you're remembered for.
Yeah,
is if
no
you won
doubt.
the Daytona 500.
That's
So,
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how it shakes out. NBA All-Star Weekend is happening currently in San Francisco, California, with events yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This evening, beginning at 8 p.m. on TNT and True TV, is the Kia Skills Challenge, followed by the Starry three-point contest, then the AT&T Slam Dunk competition. Notice they're all sponsored now, of course. Tomorrow at 8 p.m., also on TNT and True TV, is the 74th NBA All-Star Game, or should I say 3 games. Game 1 features Kenny's Young Stars versus Chuck's Global Stars. Game 2 follows with Shaq's OGs taking on Candace's Rising Stars. And Game 3 pits the winners of the 2 previous games to claim the crown. So, things are going on. Pitchers.
Why are they going to 3 games for All-Star?
They want to change things up because it was losing interest.
Have they lowered the time on these games? I mean, do they play in a regular game, and then the championship?
I don't know.
Or
as far as I know, it's regular games.
Really? Well, they'll be good and wore out. Well, they probably won't be wore out because those all-star games, nobody plays defense.
No,
because nobody wants to get hurt.
It'd be 185 to 183 or something like that.
Yeah.
Pitchers and catchers reported this week to mark the onset of Major League Baseball spring training. The first 2025 spring training game is scheduled to be a Cactus League matchup between the Cubs and the Dodgers on Thursday, February 20th in Glendale, Arizona, with 5 games to follow on Friday, February 21st. The Cubs and Dodgers will christen the regular season with a 2-game set from Tokyo, Japan on Tuesday, March the 18th and Wednesday, March 19th from the Tokyo Dome. Major League Baseball's official opening day is Thursday, March 27th. That'd be interesting to see one from Tokyo.
They're opening up in March.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
I know, really.
I mean, yeah. I bet Chicago won't be at home. The White Sox and the Cubs. Wow.
Yeah.
They're going to be out west somewhere.
Yeah, baseball in March in Chicago. That's not.
Well, we've already talked a little bit about the Super Bowl. I'll just tell you about the post-game celebration. The Philadelphia Eagles fans, notorious for their passion, packed the streets yesterday for their Super Bowl championship parade. It seems, however, that they just might have gotten a bit overzealous.
No.
There's no way.
Yeah,
I can't believe that.
because the Eagles' own general manager, Howie Roseman, can be seen on a social media picture bleeding from the forehead after being struck by a possibly misguided beer can during the festivities.
Yeah, take the possibility.
That was tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
At present, it is unclear who launched the can, but the incident didn't halt the parade or Roseman, who continued along the parade route with team owner Jeffrey Lurie.
Well, see, in Philadelphia, bottles and cans are a sign of affection. It's when they use sticks and bricks that you're in trouble.
Yeah,
Indeed.
they're climbing light poles too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big deal.
Well, what they do, they try to grease down the light poles so they won't climb them.
So they can't.
So
yeah.
they already.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That guy got up there.
Yeah. Well, I saw one laying on the concrete.
Yeah,
Yeah. Miami Dolphins star wide receiver Tyreek Hill is one of the fastest players in the NFL.
Oh, don't start this.
And he has maintained for 6 months or so that he could beat Noah Lyles in a foot race. Well, he's going to get the chance to do just that. Hill and Lyles have agreed to a race in the near future, possibly the summertime. Lyles, the reigning Olympic gold medalist in the 100 meters, won the gold in Paris when he ran the 100 meters in a blistering 9.79 seconds.
Wow.
We shall
we
see.
were growing up. It was we were waiting for the first person to get under 10
to break 10.
Yeah.
And now we're getting.
We're looking for a 9.5.
Yeah. But should they not include that kid the rookie from the Chiefs who did score the last touchdown in the Super Bowl?
Oh,
The garbage touchdown.
Yeah.
I thought he was supposed to be the fastest player.
Bob
in the
Hayes was really fast.
Bob Hayes was
Bullet Bob.
Oh, yeah, he was fast.
ESPN's college basketball voice, Jay Billis, made an abrupt about-face this week from his traditional allegiance to the ACC and the Big East in basketball. Billis, speaking on the SEC network, said, and this is a quote, "This is the most powerful basketball league top to bottom that there has ever been. I have never seen anything remotely like what we are seeing in the Southeastern Conference this year."
And he's never seen the money these guys are being paid either.
You got that right.
I'd say a little bit of money has something to do with all this talent being down here in the Southeastern
You got that
Conference.
right. Wow. Moving to women's basketball, the last undefeated team in women's college basketball, the number 1 UCLA Lady Bruins, is undefeated no more.
who beat them?
The Bruins fell to the number 6 Southern Cal, 71-60 Thursday at Galen Center.
Yeah.
Rival school.
USC star Juju Watkins had an exemplary evening for the Trojans with 38 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and 8 blocks.
8 blocks.
Yeah. The rematch will be at UCLA's Pauley Pavilion in the regular season finale on March 1st.
Wow.
Very good.
Well, she had a day.
Yeah, that's a heck of a day.
Goodness, that's a career for some people right there. Well, this day in sports, February 15th, 1930, the Winona Mustangs beat the Toluca Wildcats in the Illinois State basketball tournament in 10 overtimes.
10.
Wow.
10 overtimes. And listen to the score.
12 to 10.
26 to 22. Almost like that. 10 overtimes. It was 26 to 22.
And what was unique was all the points were scored in the 10 overtimes.
In the overtime.
The score was 0-0 in regulation.
Great defense.
Yeah.
1964. Princeton player and future U.S. Senator Bill Bradley scores 51 points in the game.
Yeah.
He was playing.
Good man.
Real
He's a good
player.
man.
Needed to have a screen, though, to shoot.
Yeah, really. 1968, the Anaheim Amigos Les Salvage, that's an ABA team, Mike. You know a lot about ABA teams, scores 10 three-pointers versus the Denver Rockets.
Yeah.
He hit 10.
Yeah, and that three-point shot was out there quite a ways in that original ABA.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and
You're
that
right.
It was.
Yeah, it had that red, white, and blue ball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of characters in that league for sure. That's a pretty rough league.
It
A
was.
lot of outlaws in that league.
Moving to 1973. Here's a local of interest.
Okay.
Made the headlines. Okay.
What'd you
on
do?
this day.
What did you do?
Friendsville Academy ends in a 138-game losing streak that lasted for 6 seasons.
Wow.
Friendsville Academy. Friendsville Academy.
Yeah, don't get that. Don't
Not
get that.
Friendsville High School.
Yeah, don't get that wrong.
No, do not confuse those two. A private school.
Gotcha.
In
Friendsville.
Friendsville, yeah. It's run by the Quakers.
Oh, okay.
In fact, they were known as the Quakers for a while, and then their nickname was the Foxes.
The Foxes.
Friendsville Academy Foxes.
But
they ate all the Quakers up. Foxes did.
They beat St. Camillus Academy in Corbin, Kentucky for the win.
Yeah. So there's still hope for a greenback.
Yeah.
Marcus.
They've got a long way to fall before we have to start worrying about
yes,
that.
Yes, they do. 1978, Leon Spinks beats Muhammad Ali in 15 rounds for the heavyweight title.
We're watching that.
I do too. 1981, the 23rd Daytona 500, Richard Petty wins a record 7th D500, beating Bobby Allison to the line by 3.5 seconds. Wow. So he smoked everybody in that race, didn't he?
Yeah, he had that Dodge with the big old wing on the back.
Big Super Bird.
Yeah, orange and blue.
Well, it was a Dodge Daytona. That's what it was. Yeah,
Used
43.
to wear that cowboy hat with a big feather.
He sure did.
He still wears that big cowboy hat with the feather in the front.
1982, Dan Issel of the Nuggets begins a streak of 63 consecutive free throws.
Wow.
63.
Did he play in Kentucky?
Yeah, he played for the Colonels.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, he played for the Colonels in the ABA.
Yeah.
Start with, then he played at University of Kentucky. Yeah. He was a senior when I was a freshman.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
1987, Bill Elliott leads 104 out of the 200 laps to win the 29th Daytona 500. He won the pole with a record speed of 210.364 miles per hour in a stock car.
That's like driving down Alcoa Highway.
Yeah, more like Pellissippi.
Or
more like Pellissippi
Speedway.
Those banks helped that down there.
They sure
You can't stand up.
Are we talking about Pellissippi or the Daytona?
Daytona.
Both.
Okay. 1991, Troy State sets a Division II record with 103 points, all scored in the second half. 103 points in the second half. They beat DeVry 187 to 117.
Still wasn't much defense on both sides.
No, absolutely not.
They gave up 117 points and still won.
Yeah.
Wow. They had to change the nets 10 times.
Won by 60. Won by 60, Tony.
Wow.
2004, Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the D500. 6 years to the day that his father won his first and only Daytona 500, which was 1998.
Yeah, Dale Sr. won about everything else, but he had
sure
trouble
did.
winning down there at
he did.
Daytona.
Yeah.
2024, just last year.
Yeah, that was it. Okay.
Iowa star Caitlin Clark scores 49 versus Michigan, becomes the Division I women's scoring leader.
Awesome.
She's still good.
Yeah,
boy,
still
I'll
good.
tell you.
Still good.
Birthdays. I've got just about 3 or 4, the 3 for you. 1929, Mike Graham Hill,
Yes,
English
sir.
auto racer, Formula One champ in 62 and 68, Indy 500 winner in 66.
66, I was there.
You were there.
And the reason that he won it was he was about halfway back and they had a major crash at the start-finish line, took out 16 cars.
Oh, my goodness.
And he was right there in the back of
benefited
that.
from that,
And they
didn't
asked
he?
him after the race, they said, well, Graham, were you caught up in all that humble blue right there at the start of
Yeah.
the race? And he said, actually, I was. There was axles and tires, and I really kind of thought I was being bombed, to be honest with you. I'll never forget him talking like that.
Oh,
But
my
what a
goodness.
great guy, and
Yeah, he was.
he was a great champion. And you know, there was controversy on that win in '66. He went to Victory Lane, and Jimmy Clark's crew, who was good friends with Graham Hill, they came over on the same plane to the 500 together. And he thought he won the race. His crew thought he won the race. Graham's down in Victory
Oh, my
Lane.
goodness.
And here comes Jim Clark and his crew to Victory Lane. And the PA announcer, Tom Carnegie, goes, and there comes Jim Clark down to Victory. It's going to get a little crowded down there. I'll never forget. Great race, 66.
Yeah.
Graham Hill was winner, and what a personable guy he was.
He was. He was.
One other thing on Graham, I get started on this, but when he came to Indianapolis, the restrooms didn't have doors on them.
Oh,
And being from England, he thought that was very inappropriate.
I bet he did.
That they didn't have restroom doors, and he went to Tony Holman, who owned the Speedway, and the next day Holman put doors on all of the restrooms down there.
Born in Hampstead, London, and died in 1975.
Plane crash.
Yep.
Yeah, private plane crash. He was
Really?
piloting the plane. It was foggy, and
Really?
went into land, and
Was crashing in the States or overseas?
Overseas, going, I think, into the airport there in London. But he had an expired pilot's license.
Wow.
At the time of the crash. Yeah.
1948, born on this day, Ron Say, Major League Baseball third baseman for the L.A. Dodgers. Born in Tacoma, Washington. What was his nickname?
The
Anybody remember?
Penguin.
The Penguin.
The Penguin.
That's right.
That's
The
right.
Penguin.
He was a
Ron
good
Say.
ball player.
He
Good
was.
third baseman. Yes, absolutely.
1974, born on this day, Seattle Slew, the 1977 Triple Crown winner. Born at Whitehorse Acres Farm in Texas, died in 2002. Seattle Slew, great
Awesome.
racehorse. Deaths, got one for you tonight. 2019, Gene Littler died on this day. Had 29 PGA Tour titles. Died at 88 years of age.
He was a legend.
He
during
sure
his
was.
days. Absolutely.
Well, that's all for this week's Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by Fast Signs. I'm Donnie Moore. Back to you, Gunner.
You like the hand movement. Well.
Thank you, Donnie. It's Mike Edwards, and I am here with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Tony Iruli and Dwayne Easter. And we're going to talk some Vanderbilt, who Tennessee plays here today. But you guys have been mentioning these school nicknames.
Yeah.
I've been taking all that in. You asked the Pellissippi State what their nickname was. Pretty cool. So I got some high school. I got 3 high school schools in Indiana with nicknames. I want to see how you guys do. Speedway, which is a high school that's right there almost across the street from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What's the nickname of the Speedway?
They got to be the Racers.
Well, that's close. Anybody else?
I should know that, but my cousin.
Yeah, you up there at Zionsville. Yeah.
The filling stations?
No, well, that's a good. The Speedway Spark Plugs.
Spark Plugs.
The
I like
Speedway
that.
Spark Plugs.
Makes sense.
Now, I know you're going to get this one. Up in the northern part of Indiana, it's the Frankfurt what?
Wieners.
I'll give you credit. It's the Frankfurt hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Frankfurt hot dogs.
No,
I like
kidding.
wieners.
You're not going you won't get this one.
The Frankfurt hot dog. We're wieners.
Way down in the south of Indiana is Vincennes High School. Vincennes
Yeah.
High School, and they had a coach there for a long time. I mean, they had a great basketball school down there. Anybody want to take a guess at their nickname?
Are they the Frenchmen?
That's close. There's probably some French people down there.
Well, Vincennes is in France, you know.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah. Anybody else?
He's trying to Google it right
I'm
fast.
They're
You
called.
can't use your phone. It's like trivia night. That's cheating.
Yeah, I'm Italian. That's what we do.
They're called the Vincennes Alices. The
Alices.
Vincennes Alices.
The Alices.
So what kind of outfit do you wear for that?
Where'd that come from?
I don't know. A novel. There was a novel written in
You
Vincennes, Indiana, and that.
You
that
put on a
was,
little waitress uniform like Alice in the
title
TV
of it
show
was
in the 70s.
Had
Is
the
that what you
Alices in
do?
it.
Nice.
And they became the Vincennes Alices. They had a great basketball coach down there by the name of Gunnar Wyman. Gunnar Wyman was a great coach down there for years and years and years. And they had a rival. I can't remember what the name of the school was. I don't know. I'll just make one. Corydon or something right outside New Albany. I don't know. Well, anyway, when he passed away, he had put on his gravestone that he'd rather be where he's at there than in New Albany. That's how big rivalries are up there in high school basketball.
Wow.
Rather be dead than be in New Albany.
This is what I was looking up here. In West Virginia, there's a town named Poca. What's their nickname?
How you spell that?
P-O-C-A.
P-O-C-A.
Yeah. What's their nickname?
Dots.
Polka dots.
That's what I was looking up.
Yeah.
Polka, and the nickname's the Dots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Go
I like
Dots.
that.
That's why I asked how it was spelled, because if it had been P-O-L-K-A, I would have immediately said Dots.
Hey, let's
But
talk.
that's clever.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's clever.
That's why you're way ahead of me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you get nicknames like Indiana, the Hurrying Hoosiers, and they're the Hoosiers, the Indiana Hoosiers, and everybody goes, well, what's a Hoosier? You know, where's your mascot?
It's
you
a
know,
cabinet, isn't it?
and
Hoosier
nobody
cabinet?
can actually explain what a Hoosier is.
Okay, so what's
It's a
Hoosier?
cabinet.
Well,
Hoosier cabinet.
the story I was always told, it was a really rough guy
Hoosier
that
daddy.
worked down there on the Ohio River.
Yeah.
He was a rough guy, riverboat guy.
Yeah.
He went into a bar down there and started drinking, and this individual came in and to get him a drink and started arguing with the guy on the river. So the guy on the river cut his ear off. Flopped down on the floor, and somebody come in there and said, "Who's your ear?"
There you go.
Who's your ear? Hoosier. Who's your ear? Who's your ear?
Who's your ear?
That's what I
Who's
always.
your ear?
Now that's what I always
ears
heard.
is?
That's always heard. So I don't know.
that's
They
what
don't-
we're
but
going
they
with.
don't have a mascot guy walking around in the arena with one ear. So I don't know whether that holds water. or
They'd call
not.
him Van Gogh if they did.
I guess. Hey, Vanderbilt comes in today at the UT, and gosh, what a year they're having. They had Coach I really good year in football,
Yeah.
so to speak, and Mark Byington has come in basketball and really turned that program around. I don't think they won a SEC game last year. If they did, there wasn't very many. They're 17-7 and 5-6 as they come in today, and to Thompson Bowling. Well, I'll call it Thompson Bowling Food City Arena.
Food City Center,
Yeah. But they lost to Auburn earlier in the week at home. But they've got some big wins, including the Tennessee win. But they're coming in. They're coming in here today, and Dwayne, I would just hate to think that we would be swept by Vandy and Kentucky
Yeah,
this
that
year.
would be
That's a
bad.
bad thought,
That'd
isn't
be
it?
really bad.
But this is a good Vanderbilt team coming
They are.
in here, but they're 12.5-point underdogs. What do you think?
I don't think you can say they're underdogs coming in here. I mean,
Throw
yeah,
that
we're
out the
at
window.
home, but still, I mean, they like to beat us if they got any kind of chance. So we're going to have to come out strong right from the get-go, and hopefully Lanier will do some scoring. Of course, Ziegler, you're going to get his best any game, but
Sure. Yeah.
and Gainey, hopefully Gainey and Milichik.
Yeah.
He's been shooting those threes, like you say, so hopefully he'll get cranked.
Igor.
Igor, that's right. Maybe
Exactly.
Igor will get
I really
cranked
think
up.
I really think Tennessee will get things going today and play really well and,
I do
and take
too,
care
Mike.
of business here with Vanderbilt. But Vanderbilt's very capable, but they haven't played very well on the road. They've played very well at home.
Yeah.
But they like beating us, though.
Yeah, it's a rival game, you know, and you just never know. They always bring out the best in teams when they got that rival that they're going up against. What's Tennessee playing for today, Marcus? What do they got left? They're out of they got no chance at the regular season right now going down the stretch.
Well, you got two things. One is you don't want to, like you said, you don't want to be swept by your two biggest rivals.
No.
So they're playing for pride because you want to at least win 1 out of the 4 opportunities you're going to get. But the other thing is, it's not so much to be. I know you're a regular season champion guy, but for this conference tournament, the best thing you can do for yourself is to be a top 4. That's what you're playing for. If you can get that double bye, then you are doing yourself a world of favor, because this league is so anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah, you're
you
right.
don't want to have to play 2 extra games. You want to play as few of those games as you can get away with to secure your seed for the dance. You don't want to have to play 5 games over there.
Yeah, and I think that to go along with the seeding in the tournament is the NCAA tournament seeding. Tennessee has been, and I always thought this was kind of amazing here, that they were like 5th or 6th in the SEC, but they were still a number 1 seed, which was kind of amazing. I don't know how you all feel about that, but that's pretty amazing. You don't see that. You don't see that on a everyday or every year agenda on that deal. But they have dropped to a number 2.
Basically, they flipped Tennessee and Florida on the 1-2 line.
Yeah, but they could get back up there. But anyway, they're looking at that too. I think that Tennessee, in this game today, I think they need to get off to a great start. They need to play outstanding defense. Ziegler's got to penetrate with the basketball. That's where they're at their best. Penetrate, kick off, get those inside guys active in there, play inside out, and boards. They hurt Vandy on the boards over there in Nashville. That's one of the things that kept them in the game over there, and limit Vandy to 3-point production, because Vandy shoots the ball. They shoot the ball extremely well on the outside, so they're going to have to guard. But it's a big game, because next week they got Buzz Williams' team, the Texas A&M Aggies down there in College Station, and that's going to be a tough place to go play. And he's done an outstanding job. That Texas A&M team is a solid team, and that with 3 losses, they still got a shot at this league with things that possibly go their way down toward the end. And then the Vols go to LSU. That's struggled. They've struggled. Them and South Carolina have struggled. But LSU has played some people at home pretty tough, Dwayne.
You can't count any of them out.
You can't count them out. And look at South Carolina there last week, taking Ole Miss, right down there. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good Ole Miss basketball team. Hey, we'll take a break here. When we return, we'll be back to close out today's show. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here along with Donnie Moore, Marcus Fitzsimmons, Coach Tony Aruli, and Dwayne Easter. I was just looking at Lenardi's NCAA forecast as of this week. He's got, as we mentioned, 14 SEC teams in the field, 10 Big Ten teams, 8 Big 12 teams, 4 Big East teams, 3 ACC teams, 3 Mountain West, and then the other 2 teams from, I guess it's the WCC. You know what conference that is, Donnie? I'm not really sure. Probably Memphis is in that conference. I know Memphis is not in the
WCC.
Yeah. But anyway, that's looks like the SEC and the Big Ten, 24 teams. 24 teams from the Big Ten and the SEC, and of course He's got Auburn, Florida, Alabama, and Duke as the number 1 seeds. That's 3 teams out of the Southeastern Conference.
Wow.
Dwayne, that's unbelievable, isn't it?
That is unbelievable.
1 team going in there, Tennessee, as we mentioned, a number 2 seed there in the East. I kind of look down to the top 25. I'm looking at some movers here. Marcus, I'm looking at one mover, St. John's, with Rick Pitino. They're surprising a lot of teams in the Big East, and they have really moved up in the polls to number 9, and they weren't even in the polls, to start the season. And what a job he has done there. And Texas A&M has shown a lot of movement too. They're up to number 8. So a couple teams to put an eye on. Huh?
Well, you can win your way up and down the ladder, win and lose your way up and down the ladder this season, and there is room, even as competitive as the SEC is, because teams are picking up losses. There's room for teams to move up and move in if they keep winning. So I think St. John's. I mean, I don't think anybody's surprised Rick Pitino, given the opportunity, can do what he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, look who you're talking about here.
Yeah. And he's only been there. I think this is his 2nd year. I mean, so he's done all this in 1 year, and he's turned it around there. But he's notorious for that wherever he goes.
Wherever he goes, guys get in a little trouble.
And trending down, Donnie, Kansas, Marquette, and Connecticut. I think Connecticut.
I can see
2 national
that.
championships. Connecticut's not even top 25 right now.
I can see that.
So
And that's the one that I was hoping you would mention is, we've been all talking about, even the kid from your hometown that went to UConn.
Yeah.
That UConn's doing
Braylon
this, they're
Mullins.
going to do that, and that coach is the highest paid in all of college basketball, and all these expectations, and they haven't done anything this year.
No, they're struggling in the Big East Conference. It's not very strong. They only got
Correct.
3 teams in the Big East
Imagine
Conference.
if he was in the SEC.
Oh,
where he'd be
man,
at.
I'm telling you. Hey, Auburn and Alabama, real quick here today. Auburn is at number 1 and number 2. I don't think an SEC school in football or basketball has ever played each other.
1 and 2.
It's been number 1 and number 2. I
number
think
2.
I've heard that this week. So what do y'all think? Who you liking? You liking Bruce Pearl down there in Alabama, or are you liking the Crimson Tide, Dwayne? Huh? I'll start with you.
I'm going to say I like Alabama on that one.
Alabama at home?
It's at home, Alabama.
Yeah, same thing, Alabama. The 2 teams are neck to neck with each other, but the home court advantage is a big thing.
Yeah. What about
Well, I'm going to fall back in history, because the last time 2 in-state rivals were ranked number 1 and number 2 and played was 2008, and it was when Tennessee went over and beat Memphis.
Really? Okay.
Became the number 1 in the next poll, came home and lost to Vanderbilt the next game.
There
so
you go.
Big
Bruce
game, next
Pearl
game.
was the coach of that 2007-18. That was his 3rd season.
Yeah.
So Bruce has been here and done this. I'm going to give him the advantage. He's done this and gone on the road and won this game. So I'm going to give him the advantage and say we go with Auburn.
You're on a roll. You picked the Eagles last week, but Donnie, you like?
I like Auburn too. I
You
think,
do like Auburn?
They've been beaten once this year, so they don't have anything to lose.
So
now.
you're telling those people down at Auburn to go buy that toilet paper and get ready to throw it out there on Toomey's Corner or whatever it's called down there and decorate that tree. I'm going with Alabama. I'm going with Alabama there at home today. I think they're going to take care of business. It's tough to be number 1, because everybody's shooting for you.
Sure.
Exactly.
And so I look for Bama.
So
but
Alabama on this side of the table.
I think it's a very evenly matched basketball game, going into here today. Donnie, you look like you're just dying to blow that whistle over there.
I'm chomping at the bit.
Okay, just did.
Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host of Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, Tony Aruli, and Dwayne Easter, until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the GoTeez Sports Page. The best in local sports.